Good afternoon, Cross Timbers. Today is Thursday, April 27th, 2017. I am Haley Smith.
And I am Ashley Inge.
Today's stories include Ann Coulter canceling her event in California and a Tarleton professor speaking out against domestic abuse.
These stories and more coming up next on Texan TV.
In campus news, we go to Brittany Scott.
All right, thank y'all for tuning in, and I'm here with Dr. Winslow, who is a part of the Tarleton State University Communications Department, and she is going to St. Louis, Missouri to speak on behalf of domestic violence with this company called Safe Connections. So, Dr. Winslow, can you just give me a little rundown? What is Safe Connections?
Safe Connections is actually an organization that helps domestic abuse, sexual assault victims with their recovery, and they serve the eastern side of Missouri, which is how I got familiar with them. It's a resource center. They're not a housing. They're not, they are there for domestic and sexual assault victims to get counseling, training, and basically regain your life and help you move from victim to survivor.
Awesome. And just really quick, can you define for us, some of the characteristics of domestic violence for, those abusers that might be out there that they don't realize that they're actually a part of this?
Verbal assault, emotional, financial, medical, neglect are all characteristics of domestic abuse, domestic violence. The words are used interchangeable.
So to conclude our little talk, what is some good advice for people out there that may be just now learning that they're in this situation? What's some good advice that you have to, leave?
First, don't be embarrassed. Go ahead and get help. But let's say you're not even to the point of getting help. If your gut says something is wrong here, listen to your gut and talk to friends. Research what are the signs of domestic abuse. And talk to friends. Build yourself a support network. Learn to just walk away. When you're being bullied, walk away. Other tips I've learned, my abuser cleaned out my finances. So for young women, I always tell manage your own finances. And young women or men, young people, manage your own money. Don't give control of your life over to someone. So manage your money. My abuser took total control of my life. I didn't even have the passwords to our bank accounts.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't even know, as a doctoral student, I didn't even know how to manage my finances. So that was one of the things Safe Connections did, is they offered courses on this. I had no idea what was on the credit cards, and my abuser had racked up $40,000 in credit card debt.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't know. So one of the best tips would be aware, learn, be on top of, don't turn everything over. So I would say be aware, get help, talk, be open about it. And that's part of the reason I've come forward, is I should have been talking more.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Winslow, for sharing your story with us and giving us some extra resources.
Thank you.
Congratulations and good luck on Saturday.
It'll be fun.
Thanks, Brittany. To view the whole interview, visit the Texan News Service on YouTube.
In local news, we go to Dylan Craig for some information on the Confederate flag in Stephenville.
The Confederate flag is one of the most polarizing symbols in the United States. To some, it is an enduring symbol of Southern pride. To others, it symbolizes the driving force behind the Civil War, slavery. You will find that the Confederate flag is no more prevalent than in Texas, the very heart of the South. Stephenville, Texas, situated just southwest of Fort Worth, has seen its fair share of Confederate flags over the years. From college students to a local cemetery, it's difficult not to run into one. To find out more about the history of the flag, we sat down with author and historian Dr. Michael Landis.
The Confederate flag, as we know it, is a Confederate battle flag, and it was used by General Lee's army. And it doesn't really become an issue until the 20th century, when we have the fight over civil rights and school desegregation. Then it becomes a rallying point for white Southerners to resist school integration.
Afterward, we sat down with Mayor Kenny Weldon of Stephenville to talk about his thoughts on the flags and how new people coming to the area might react to seeing them.
as our society becomes more mobile and people throughout the nation, move to other areas, and especially in Texas where there's so many people that are moving to this area, it is important for those groups that are involved in whatever it's tied to some deep-rooted history in an area to be able to explain, what's the true purpose of that, and is it relevant to today's society.
Finally, we talked with Stephenville residents to get their take on the flag.
There are other ways to, show Southern pride. I mean, there's nothing wrong with our Texas flag, right? So it's just a symbol of the past and what it stood for. It's really like without the Civil War, we wouldn't have a Confederate flag.
I think it can be used in a racial manner and has, but as just a flag, I don't think so. I think it's how people try to represent that flag. It can be used in a hurtful way, or it can be used in a heritage type way.
I think it means both to different people. But I'm from the city, so that's not anywhere to be found.
Right.
It's probably more of a symbol of Southern pride, I guess. When I see it, I always kind of associate that with redneck. So.
Whether you think the flag is a symbol of racism or Southern pride, one thing is certain: the Confederate flag isn't going away anytime soon.
And so, it depends on each of you guys, or whoever's watching this, to decide how much blame the average person. Right? I mean, the average person who flies it, they're a product of a system and a society. Right? But as an educator, I can't just say, well, that's the way things go. My job is to try to fix these misconceptions.
Thanks, Dylan and Brittany, for putting that video together.
And now today's Texas national and international news from the Associated Press. In Texas news, NASA's spacewalking suits are in short supply, and a replacement is still years away despite the nearly $200 million spent on new technology, the space agency's inspector general reported Wednesday. A new generation suit for spacewalking astronauts is needed for future space travel, including trips to Mars, but a lack of formal plan and destinations have complicated suit development, putting more priority instead on space habitats. According to the report, NASA is dealing with a variety of design and health risks associated with the spacewalking suits used by astronauts aboard the International Space Station. The suits were developed more than 40 years ago and intended for only 15 years of use. For the original backpacks containing life support equipment, only 11 of the 18 are still in use. The report stated that might not be enough to last until the station's retirement in 2024, let alone a possible extension until 2028.
In national news, Ann Coulter said Wednesday that she was forced to cancel her speaking event Thursday at the University of California, Berkeley, amid concerns of violence, calling it a dark day for free speech in America. Police and university officials said they were still preparing for possible violence and protest whether Coulter comes to campus or not. In an email to the Associated Press, Coulter said that despite the event's cancellation, she might decide to turn up anyway. Officials at UC Berkeley said last week they feared more violence on the campus if Coulter followed through with plans to speak. They cited very specific intelligence of threats that could endanger Coulter and students as Berkeley becomes a platform for extremist protesters on both sides of the political spectrum.
In international news, the Trump administration told lawmakers Wednesday it will apply economic and diplomatic pressure on North Korea to dismantle its nuclear weapons program as an extraordinary White House briefing served to tamp down talk of military action against the unpredictable and increasingly dangerous U.S. adversary. President Trump welcomed Republican and Democratic senators before his Secretary of State, Defense Secretary, Top General, and National Intelligence Director conducted a classified briefing. The same team was also meeting with House members in the Capitol to outline the North's escalating nuclear capabilities and U.S.'s response options to what they called an urgent national security threat. For more of today's national and international news, we turn to the AP News Minute.
This is AP News Minute. The Trump administration introduced a plan to simplify and cut taxes while igniting economic growth. The plan is short on details, including how the government would pay for it. President Trump told the leaders of Mexico and Canada that he will not pull the U.S. out of NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. The White House says the three leaders decided to revise the deal. Fire officials say toasters, towels, and other objects were used to start 2 fires at the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas on Wednesday. 1 security guard was hurt. An arson suspect is in custody. And a baby colobus monkey is the newest star at the Audubon Zoo in New Orleans. Colobus is a threatened species. The baby is all white, but the adults have black fur and white hair on their face and tail. Shirley Smith, The Associated Press, with AP News Minute.
In sports, last Thursday night, what started out as a noise complaint turned into something much more serious. According to Star Telegram, officers responded to the complaint around 10 p.m., where they discovered 2 students in what was called obvious medical distress and were taken to the hospital immediately. 3 students were arrested on charges of disorderly conduct and providing alcohol to a minor. Jansen Savage, 22, Brad Rutherford, 21, and Channing Flatt, 21, are the men who face these charges. 1 other student was arrested for public intoxication, Josue Gary, 21. During the time that officers arrived at the hospital to receive information on the 2 who were in medical distress, police heard information on another party who sent 3 other students to the hospital for the same reasons, alcohol poisoning. Both parties were considered to be initiation proceedings for the 2 intramural softball teams. All students were released from the hospital Friday afternoon. After Stephenville and Tarleton police spoke about the incident, it was unclear what actions were going to be taken. We are currently waiting for further information.
Well, I'm glad those students were safe.
Oh, me too.
We now go to Caitlin Rivera for our entertainment news.
So as you may already know, the Larry Joe Taylor Texas Music Festival kicked off this Monday. And tonight, Texas artists such as Caitlin Butts, Flatline Cavalry, and William Clark Green will be taking the stage as well as many more. If you're going out there, be sure to stay safe and responsible and always have a sober ride home. In other news this week in movies, How to Be a Latin Lover starring Kristen Bell and Rob Lowe is coming to theaters Friday. Also, Voice from the Stone starring Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones will also be coming out this Friday in select theaters around the country.
Thanks, Caitlin.
For weather from the National Weather Service, today we'll be enjoying a sunny high of 83 and a low of 65. As for tomorrow, we will have a warmer high of 88 degrees with a 20% chance of rain and a low tomorrow night of 67 with an increasing 30% chance of rain. Enjoy the weather and stay dry, Texans.
This has been a production of Texan TV News, a product of the Texan News Service from the Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas.
Watch us live on Apogee Channel 2.1 in the dorms at 12:30 weekdays. If you live off campus, tune in on Northland Cable Channel 9.
You can follow the Texan News Service on Facebook and Twitter, and check out our website at www.texannews.net for all of your latest local, state, national, and international news.
Today's broadcast was produced by Dylan Craig, Caitlin Rivera, and Brittany Scott. Have a wonderful day, Texans.